Hello, everyone. My name is Monique Bryant, and I serve as your Director of System Outcomes for Hope Connections and also your Regional HMIS Admin for the Northwest Louisiana region. Today is September 12th, 2023, and this video is going to encompass everything you need to know about the upcoming data standards changes that will happen on October 1st. You guys should have received today a checklist, a quick reference guide concerning the data standards changes. So if you want to use that quick reference in conjunction with this training, you are more than welcome to do so. As a matter of fact, it may be very helpful to have that handy while this training is going on. Today we will look at an emergency shelter project, and I do realize that everybody does not have an emergency shelter. However, the changes that we're going to go over today will be the same across the board. Your screens may look a little bit different, but when you get to the questions that have changed, the look will be the same. So today we're just going to create a new client. We'll go over to client point. Now clear out what we have there already, and we're just going to create Hope Connections test client. We're going to complete the name data quality as we would in our actual environment. We're going to just create a social, and enter in the social security number, data quality, and check whether or not the client is a veteran or not. And then we're going to search for that client. If there are no matches, we're going to add a new client with that information. And I'm not sure as of yet if you guys will get this pop-up box or not. Again, this is the sandbox that WellSky put out for us to do the training on. And it does have this backdate mode pop-up. Again, not sure if we're going to have it, but if we do, this is just simply reminding you that if you're not in backdate mode, and you should be, to go ahead and put that in now. So if you're entering something that needs to be backdated, you can just say, you can set the date and then do set new backdate. Or if you're good with using the current date, everything is live data that you're about to enter, you can just say use current system date. Again, I do not know if this is going to translate over into the new site once the data standards are updated. Okay, and then you want to go ahead and enter in the client demographics. I do realize that sometimes when you guys create new clients, you will start on the summary screen. This particular sandbox site just automatically took me to the client profile, so don't be alarmed about that. So when we go over to the client profile, we can go ahead and update the client demographics. And also, I do realize that some of you enter this part of the client demographics when you're first searching for your client. So again, this is a sandbox site, just a test environment here. Your functionality should work exactly the same. So if you're entering dates of birth and all of that stuff on your front end when you're searching for your client, you will continue to do that. However, this particular module has it where you have to enter it on the back end. So we're just going to enter a date of birth. We're going to do this date of birth type. Here is the first of your changes. So as you can see, race and ethnicity have been combined. In the previous, in what we're going from, race and ethnicity were separate. But here they are combined together. Also, you're going to see some races that you did not see in the previous module. like Hispanic, Latino has been added. If you remember, as what we're doing right now, we would enter white for the primary race, and then we would choose Hispanic for the ethnicity previously. But after October 1st, everything is combined, and we have Hispanic listed for race and ethnicity. We also have added Middle Eastern and North African, and I think that is all for that change. But thankfully, we do have some other races and ethnicities to choose from, so we can choose whatever we want to choose there. If there is any additional notes that you need to make concerning race or ethnicity, you can type that in there. Like if there's something that is still not covered for the race of your particular client, you can always type that in right there. Okay. Next change that we're going to notice is that for gender, we now have woman, and then in parentheses, girl if a child. Same thing with man, boy if a child. Culturally specific identity. Example, two-spirit, which has to do with the Native Americans. Different identity, non-binary, transgender, questioning, and then those answers that we don't like to use because they give us errors. Client doesn't know, client prefers not to answer, or data not collected. You are able to select multiple if you need to. And basically you would just, it works like Excel. You would click the first one and then click a different one by holding the control key down to select multiple. All right. And you can do the same thing on race and ethnicity. And I'm sorry, I did not say that in the beginning. So yeah, you can choose multiple for the race and ethnicity as well as gender. All right, and then we'll just save it. And all of your answers are populated like they normally would be. Okay, still have your case notes and file attachments. We still have households, and as you know, we want to make sure that we create a household for every household, regardless if there's just one person or if there's more than one person. As you can see here, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the case when we go live after October 1st, you see that this list is much shorter than before. So you only have just a few options to choose from: couple with no children, female single parent, foster parent, grandparent child, male single parent, non-custodial caregiver, two-parent family, or other. In this case, we're just going to say single. Normally we would have single. Again, I don't know if that is going to be the same when we go live on October 1st. But if it is, then for single, we'll just do other. And then, of course, this section is to search for any children or any other family members that may be present in the family that you're working with. But again, we're just saying that this person is single, and we're going to go to continue. We're going to make sure that we select the head of household. And just like before, if you choose yes to the head of household, it's going to automatically default to self. I'm going to save and exit. That's our household. ROI is going to work pretty much the same. Release granted, start date, and the end date is going to be whatever is selected by your particular agency. You know, if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, you would put that end date there. And then documentation, as you can see that this has been changed as well. But we're just going to say there is a signed statement from client. I think there was about 9 or 10 different selections previously. And then by witness, you can just put your name. And we can save that release of information. Entry exit. It's going to work the same pretty much. And of course you have your same project types: basic, HUD, path, RI, transitional, VA, whatever your project type is. Again, your screens are going to pretty much be the same. Whatever information you've entered thus far is going to automatically populate over. And then you will just answer the subsequent questions here on the assessment. First question, disabling condition. I think before it said, does this client have a disabling condition? So it just asks for disabling condition here. And you would say yes or no. Relationship to the head of household. This is a change as well. It says enrollment COC. And then you would just choose. Now in this test site, we have a lot of things to choose from. In our live site, we're not going to have all of the other states, but we know that our Northwest Louisiana region is LA 502. And it said client location before, but now it says enrollment COC. Prior living situation is pretty much the same. However, as you can see, they did, and this is one of my favorite changes, they did split up temporary housing situations from permanent housing situations. So you still have your homeless situations here, you have your institutional situations there, and like I just said, your temporary housing situations is now separate from your permanent housing situations. And then you still have the other category here at the bottom. So we're going to say our client was homeless. Length of stay in previous place, nothing about that has really changed. Approximate date, current episode of homelessness started. I really like the wording and the language of this because it really speaks to this episode of homelessness. So how long has this client really been living in this prior living situation? How long have they been homeless this particular time? Because we know that episodes of homelessness can be broken when clients have been in some type of temporary or permanent living situation before becoming homeless. So I kind of like the wording of this. It's going to help all of you users as well as the clients that you're talking to. Is going to help them understand that question a whole lot better. So we will just put a date here. And then regardless of where they stayed last night, the number of time the client has been homeless in an emergency shelter, safe haven, or what have you in the last 3 years. Nothing about that wording has changed. And then again here, nothing has changed. Total number of months that the client has been homeless. So again, it just asks you to quantify the number of times that they've been homeless into months. All right. Income from any source, pretty much just a yes or no. And then you'll still have to verify it, whatever you put there. All of these questions where you see the red triangles are in two parts. You'll answer the first part and then you'll verify it, just like you normally would. So we'll verify that. I said no, this client doesn't have any income, so I'll make sure to select no on everything and save and exit. And now that triangle turns into a check. Total monthly income is 0 because this client doesn't have any income. Non-cash benefits, we'll say yes. And then we'll verify that. We'll say that they have food stamps. And we will insert an amount. Okay. The next two-part question has to do with health insurance. Does the client have health insurance? I'll say no. and then we'll just verify that this client does not have any of these insurances. Okay, and disability type, we got a red triangle here, and we answered the question about disability. Up here where it says disabling condition, I said yes. So I am going to verify what that disability was. And we're going to just say alcohol use disorder. You're going to get a pop-up. Is it expected to impair their ability to live independently? We'll say yes or no. Anything that says retired, they're supposed to be taking off everything that currently says retired so that you don't even have to see that question. But if you should happen to see anything that says retired, you don't have to answer that question. You can just skip it. All right. And then we're going to save and exit. All right. This is something else that has changed, the wording concerning domestic violence. It just simply asks, is this a survivor of domestic violence instead of victim? Everything that a lot of the changes that they've made have really been person-centered. And so HUD was really sensitive to the fact that, when you call somebody a victim, how that can make them feel. So, again, a lot of the changes are person-centered changes, such as this one. So you want to answer that yes or no, and we'll just say no. If you did answer yes, though, make sure you answer the following two questions. All right, and we're just going to save and exit here. Case managers, nothing about that has really changed. And then all we have left is the case plans. Those work as normal. Nothing about that has really changed. And then the assessment tabs. So in a nutshell, I know this was just a very quick synopsis, but I just kind of wanted you guys to see what changes were going to take place in real time. We are working on the back end to set everything up for October 1st. There's an announcement that will come out pretty much by the end of the week this week concerning what's going to happen on October 1st. But as far as right now, what I'm asking everybody to do is to make sure all of your data is updated by the end of September 30th. Just make sure that everything is clean and ready to go into October, meaning just like we did for point in time, if there are clients that you need to enter your program on the 30th, try to enter that live data that day instead of waiting until the next day. Well, the 30th is actually on a Saturday, so if everything could be in by the 29th, that would be amazing, because we don't want to run into any issues where you're having to redo anything because of the changes that have happened, that are going to happen on October 1st. So again, clean up any data, run any reports that you would normally run, and just get everybody entered in before or by or on the 29th of this month. As always, if you have any questions for us, any questions concerning any of the data standards changes, please let us know. Again, there is a lot of work that is going on in the back end of this, so we may not be readily available for questions, but if you would send me an email, I will definitely get back to you. I may not be able to take a phone call, but I can definitely get to your email. It may not be the same day, maybe the next day, or maybe a little later than normal. But do send those questions and we will get those questions answered as soon as possible. It's just a lot of work that's going on the back end for and in preparation for these data standards changes. All right, well, that is it for now. And we will be talking about this very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you around.